Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Red EDC. Once again, we are talking Rough Rider knives. However, this one's a little bit different. Usually we talk about a knife from several different series of Rough Rider knives, but this time we're going to talk about a few different knives from a single series. That would be the Rough Rider Classic Carbon 2 series. Now, the 2 obviously means this is the second Classic Carbon series. The first series was this right here, the original Classic Carbon. Comes in this yellow composition handle, covers, T10 blades on this one as well, but this was the original. The original was in the yellow composition. But these, black micarta, and they look really, really good. Now, as you can see here, we've got 3 of the different patterns that are available in this series. And there's actually 10 patterns in this series. Of course, here we've got the small moose, we've got the half hawk, and then we have the bow trapper. But the other ones are the Barlow. Oh man, that looks good. The penknife, the small toothpick, the swayback, which is another, man, the Wharncliffe blade on that swayback. Again, nice looking knife. The canoe, and then the large stockman, and the scout knife. And that scout knife looks pretty cool. And speaking of it, our good friend Tobias Gibson, Knife Chats with Tobias, he actually just did a review on the scout knife. So if you're looking at maybe checking that one out, Tobias has an absolutely fantastic video on it. He kind of compares it to some of the other Rough Rider scout knives and stuff. So definitely check that out. I will try to remember to put it in the description. I'll put a link to it in this description, hopefully, as well as links to SMKW where you can check these out as well. Now, I ended up buying the half hawk myself when I first saw this series. And then, of course, the good people from SMKW, Smoky Mountain Knife Works, sent the small moose and the bow trapper out. You probably saw that in my unboxing. But let's talk about the half hawk first. I really liked the way this one looks. That's why I bought it. Man, that Barlow and the swayback, 2 other really good looking patterns in that series. But as I said, black micarta on these. You've got the blue liners. Now it does it's an underliner as well, but you get that nice little touch of blue right there both by the bolster, which I really like. You got the R stamped on the bolster. I know Tobias isn't going to like that, but you got nickel silver pins, brass liners. This one, let's get a look at it. Man, this one looks pretty darn good. Yeah. And then, of course, you have a pewter shield on these, which is a little different, but really nice. And then, of course, you got that really nice looking sheep's foot blade. I actually did some cutting on some tomato plants with this one, so it's actually kind of starting to get a little bit of patina going on it. So very nice. And that T10 carbon, it will patina up pretty nice. Matte strike pulls. I was just trying to get an idea of the pull on this one. As you can see there, you do have a half stop. I'd give it a 5, in between 5 and 6 in that range. Decent pull, nice snap on it. Yeah, not too bad. Pinch bolster on these. Man, I mean, for 15 bucks, I think all of these are 15 bucks. Let's see, the half hawk is, the small moose is, and yep, the half hawk, the small moose, and the bow trap. Oh, the bow trapper is $16.99, so 17 bucks. Pretty much all of them are right in that. Scout knife is 17, the large stockman is 17, and then the small toothpick is $12.99 or 13. The rest of them are right there in that $14.99 range. Then, of course, we've got the small moose. Another very interesting pattern. Now, I've seen a few of the large moose patterns. Haven't had a whole lot of the small. Now here, obviously, you've got the slant R on the bolster, again pinched, Everything else is pretty much the same. Black micarta. But I don't got a little bit of gap on this one. Now, as I always say, does that bother me? Not a bit. Not on a $14 knife. I mean, let's be serious. Match stripe toll, nice half stop there. Nice swedge on that clip point. That pull was probably, again, 5 to 6 on the main blade. And then, of course, you have the spay blade. Well, that one's kind of light. I'd give that one maybe... That one's probably more like a 4 on that one. Not quite the snap on that spring. But again, now here you can see you got the double blue because you have both bolsters. I think that's really, it just looks really good. That nice little snap of color. Yes, I know it's blue. It's not red. But I tell you what, that blue really, really pops. And it looks good. I think it looks really good. And then, of course, we have the Bow Trapper. Really, really good looking pattern. I like the Barlow, and I like the Sodbuster. You know, those two are probably my favorite patterns, but I'm really starting to like some of these patterns, like the Bow Trapper, the Sway Back, you know, some ones that look a little bit different. Maybe, you know, it's not a trapper, it's not a toothpick, you know. But then again, the Barlow and the Sodbuster are about as classic patterns as you can get. So, but you know, just change it up a little bit with these other patterns. Again, this one looks like a little gapping again. Nothing too bad, but check that out. You actually got a lanyard post. That is kind of cool. Right on. Again, the blue underliners, that nice little pop of blue by each bolster. Really looks good. Again, match strike, half stop. Again, a really nice clip point with that swedge. That pull, yeah, I'd say probably a 5. Nice, decent snap. And then the spay blade, again, I'd probably give it about a 5. That had maybe a little bit more snap to it. Overall, I mean, these are 3 really good looking knives in this series. You guys know I really dig Rough Riders. I've talked about it several times. Just talked about it with RJ in the recent channel chat with RJ with Knives. Fantastic way to get into the traditional world of knives, patterns, see what you like, you know, and then of course, you know, make sure you do like them. Oh, the other thing I wanted to point out, sorry. I like the way that feels. I like the way that feels in hand. That Bow Trapper, that curved handle. But anyway, you know, they are a really great way to get into that traditional world with not a lot of money, you know. I mean, you know, these 3 knives sitting in front of us, you know, we're looking at, you know, $50-ish for 3 knives. That's not too bad, and they're all pretty darn good. Like I said, you know, that one, this one, is it this one? No, it was this one. It's got a little bit of a gap on it. And like I said, it doesn't bother me in a knife of this price. Now, when we're talking, you know, like the Rough Rider Reserve, you know, where those are, now we're talking, you know, what those are usually anywhere from that $45 to $60-ish range. Okay, I'm probably going to be a little bit more critical if that's got some gapping or something like that, because it's presented as a reserve or top tier line. And I would not expect to see that on a top tier line. That's why, you know, it doesn't really bother me on these. They've got gaps on them. Now, somebody did recently tell me, I think it was on a Half Hawk, that they told me they got their Half Hawk in this series and it had blade rub. Okay, understand. The best thing I can say, they're backed for life. You know, what, built by hand, backed by life, backed for life. That's the Rough Rider slogan. I have never ever had an issue. I think I've called Smoky Mountain twice with issues that I've had on Rough Rider knives, and it's been nothing but absolutely the easiest thing to get a replacement knife. So that's all I can say. I can tell you what my experience has been, and it's been very, very good. But guys, let me know down in the comments, what do you think? What do you think of this classic carbon series? I know, post on Instagram and stuff like that. They've gotten a really, really good response. That black micarta looks really good. It does have, it looks kind of smooth, but it does have a pretty darn decent grip on it. And again, this one too, fantastic. Feels great in hand. It's kind of got a little bit of a sway back kind of sort of look to it, but it feels really good. If you're doing these cuts, like I said, that's where I was trimming some tomato plants, using it like that. But man, a really, really great looking series. Again, let me know down in the comments, guys. What do you think? What do you think about the series? What do you think about Rough Rider knives in general? Tell me what you think. That's what the comments are there for. We can start a discussion, talk about things. You guys know I love talking to you. I say it at the end of every video. But thanks a lot, guys, for checking out these. Again, thanks very much to the good folks at Smoky Mountain Knife Works for sending out the Small Moose and the Bow Trapper in the Classic Carbon 2 series. You know what happens to them, guys? They end up given away somehow, somewhere. I'll give them away. Maybe SKL. We'll see. But as always, guys, great talking to you today. Thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and leave me that comment. You know I love talking to you. Till next time, I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.